Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Geomagic Control X Inspection Insights. I am not Sam. My name is Adam, and today I'm going to be walking you through the topics today that we're going to be covering. Today, we're going to look at directional tolerances and some annotation grouping. Annotation grouping allows us to set up dimension groups the way we would like for viewing in a report. I usually like to lay things out the way you'd see them on a print. So we'll go over a little bit of that, and then we're going to go over some bilateral dimensions. Because it's just, I don't know, some of you probably know how to do this, but a lot of people, I get questions on this. So we'll just go over that real quick and show you how that works. So this is rather than just like a plus or minus 0.5, we might have like a -0 and a +3, something like that. So a little bit about our typical inspection workflow. We generally are getting a nominal CAD data, ideally, from any one of your favorite CAD programs. Control X has importers for almost all of them. And, we can take any interchange CAD file format too. So we can also use scan data directly. If we have a known good part, or what we call a golden part, we can actually use that too. It's just it's a little bit more work, but there's some quick ways to do that in Control X too, and there's videos on that also. So then we're going to bring that in. We are going to line what we call our measured data, which is generally our scan data, to that model, and that measurements. If we had CAD or scan data, we can have them pre-planned in there, ready to go, so they auto-populate when we bring our data in. All kinds of different compare functions, and then we're going to be dumping out reports. And of course, this is a very repeatable process. We can, just reload scan data into that same document file time and time again, have a rebuild results for us as we get different parts in. And then we can also automate that rebuilding and replacing and report generation and push out. So a couple things about Control X is I should tell you we have a couple different plans here. So we have Essentials, Essentials Connect, and Professional. The Essentials is everything probably most people need to get rolling on doing first article inspections and pushing everything out. Essentials Connect is where we start adding in plugins and direct scanning for the portable CMMs and things like that, and some different handheld laser scanners. And then, in the professional version, that's where we really start getting into automation, native CAD importing, and then all kinds of fancy comparison tools that are generally industry specific. So with that being said, we'll keep this bit a little short, and let's jump into Control X.
So here's a CAD model of a little gear assembly with some holes in it. First things first, this looks a little bit dark here, so let me change my lighting a little. So I'm just going to make the bottom a little brighter there. Yeah, that looks nicer. So to get into some dimensional grouping here, let's go and start with a couple different things. So we'll start with these outside cylinders here, and we will add some like bilateral dimensioning from those, and I'll show you how to input those. So for any of this, we can use Smart Dimension and pop around the object. So if I want, I can add in and grab something like the cylinder, and I can just keep moving around the different features, and it will automatically figure out like what sort of dimension I'm trying to put on the feature based on what is on my part. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just grab this first one here. We can specify radius, and then we can specify our tolerance on here. So tolerance will give us drop downs of some of the most recent things we have used, and you can actually see one here in my drop down is a bilateral tolerance. But how we're going to get that is rather than just inputting the normal tolerance, so say we wanted a 50 thou tolerance on this, I would hit go, it gives me plus or minus 50 thou. Now the engineer may have called out, let's say like minus 10 and plus 50 because he wants to make sure that, or she wants to make sure that the minimum material on there is only a minus 10. So then what we would do is we'd always start with the negative number. So we would say like minus 0.0 0.01. And then to get to the other half, there's a couple different things we can do. We could use a lot of the modifiers, like I could put a comma and then put 50, and that is one way to get it in. You'll see it all reverts back to this little tilde sign here, which you can find above the little accent key next to the one on your keyboard with the shift command. So it really just depends on how you want to type it, but those are how you can type those in to specify your bilateral tolerances. So then what we could do is change what we want to do on the fit of these things. Maybe they're all the same, maybe they're all different, but let's show you another one here, just in case. So what I actually like to do, I tend to use Smart Dimension if I need to grab a lot of different features. A lot of times if I'm grabbing all the same feature, I just use Radial. So the one thing I like about using these dimensions from Radial a little bit better, you'll see it carries over all of the styles that I've used before for that too. So you're always going to get the drop down of your most recent used. All of these will also auto-populate with tolerance tables too. So I guess I'm old school. I kind of tend to like hitting all the individuals, but be aware you can hit Smart Dimension and bounce around all this stuff too. So if we want to do the same thing, rather than inputting it, we can just click the top. But let's say this side is actually a little bit of a different size. So rather than using this face, let's use this cylinder on the internal here. It's just a different size. So on this, for the same part, most likely the tolerance stacking is different. So he may actually have like a -0 on this. So, and then I can do a plus 50. So that's saying he wants nothing smaller than the cat bore on this part. So we could do something like that. You see it update on the tag. A couple things about the tags, like while we're playing with them here, I have what was our general description on here, but you can put all kinds of different things on here. I can add in names and things like that from the actual grouping. And you can do that through the presets. There's lots of different presets here for adding those. So by default, I have my radial dims set up as for the default section to include the name. So as I change the name here on the side, generally I would make these names correspond to any labeling that's on the print. So now these two dimensions, kind of look okay from the side here, but these are probably generally not how I would approach the part. And how I would do that is with dimensional grouping. So what I'm going to do is actually just throw these out for right now. And I'm going to think of how this would be laid out on a print. I do not actually have a print for this part, but we're going to lay out some of the stuff how you would see it on a print. So you'll notice in the dimensions here we have dimensional groups. So, and right now I'm just in a first group. So usually like on a printed model, we may start out with a standard top view. So if I come in, say top view, it's going to orient the part for me, give me my top view, and then we can start doing dimensions like you would see on the print here. So, probably one of the first ones we're going to grab is the outside of this part here. So I'm going to go and lay this on the outside of my part. As long as my view is that I have the part twisted to is relatively close to the way I want to view it, I won't have to rotate this tag. But if it's not, and I wanted to view it from the side, I could always rotate the tag and then like replace like where the dimension is in one of my views when I take a picture. But since I want to view this from the top, we're going to leave this go. I'm just going to hit it again because it's really just rotating all through all three planes. And we're going to place that dimension there. I'm also just going to start doing some global tolerancing on here. So we'll just go back and change that. You'll notice I can bounce around with all this stuff and even set stuff up before I hit the check button. Once I hit the check, then my dimension's good. So if I needed to grab another radius, I could do that. So let's say we wanted to grab, once I place the dimension, now I can pick another one. I don't have to hit check at the end of every single one. So now I can grab my other one. You'll notice if I don't hit check, it's not going to pull from a tolerance table even if it was set up to. What it's going to do is just use the exact same tolerance that I have placed. So if these are the same tolerance, it's really convenient to not exit to command. It's just to keep adding. So, but we'll place that, and then maybe another good dimension from the top view is one of these inside radiuses here, or like this upper edge radius. So you can see these are all tapers inside here, so we don't want to do the edge. But I will grab that, and then I'll place that over here. Let's say there's probably will be a bunch more from the top view on the print here, but what I like to do is come in and I will hit my standard view here for what my drawing is calling out. And then if we come over to group 1 here, this is the image that we're going to get in our report. So I will hit the little reassign viewpoint here, and it'll grab the image. You'll see that this is a square image because of the formatting of the report, so I will just slide this to where I would want it to view on the report and hit update to get the image where I like it, and make sure I don't have any tags like pulled way off on the outside of the screen here where they won't be visible. The report will resize some, but if you have some things missing that you notice when you go and hit report, it's probably because you took your image and there was a bunch of dimensions hanging off screen, so we don't automatically pull them in case you actually don't want them on that view. But now we have our top view of our part. The next thing I'll generally do is I will just hide our group 1. And you can see I don't have any data in here yet. I'm doing this all ahead of time, so I'm pre-planning this inspection out for what I would like to do. And then there's a couple other things we could do. So a lot of times from, maybe if my top view is getting too cluttered, I could always add the cylinders in to a separate set of dimensions. And a lot of times you would see something on a print called out as like an exploded or a zoomed in view of certain things that just aren't visible or are getting too crowded on the print. So, but what we're going to do is we're going to hit add group, come into, now we're in group 2, so I got populated down here. So now we can do things like this same sort of dimensioning scheme on the outside. So maybe we wanted to call all these out from the top view. So I would hit cylinder on this. I can grab both sides if I want to, and then I can place them where I want them from the top view. So just to move things along. So but let's go from this other edge here, and we'll say we'll do the bottom of the part. Again, if I want to clock it to the true bottom where the CAD is oriented, I can click true bottom. And then I can come in and do some angular stuff. So say we want to grab the inside of our cylinder here, take those measurements. I'm actually going to grab both sides, say it's a composite measurement. So what we'll do is hit shift, and then we will click our second side, and you'll see it highlights both of them in, so we can lay that in. So then I can pull this guy out here, place it where I like it on the bottom view, and go from there. So I usually get it just sort of pretty close, and then what I'll do is go in after I start taking my images and do a little bit more adjustment quickly. So add a radial dimension there, get the inside of that bore, and then we can come in and grab some angular stuff here. So let's say we want to grab one of these guys and place the dimension how we like. So depending on what angle they are calling out between the two, we can just shift this thing around to get what they want. So they might want to say it's a 30-degree tooth. So if we want, we'll put that in there. They'd probably put a typical on something like this, but we can go through and just roll on this. So you can see our angle on the CAD is very interesting, but maybe it's supposed to be that way. So, but we'll go and lay that in. Now that we have some dimensions on the top and on the bottom here, let me go and I'll click my true bottom again on the part, and I will adjust these to where I like them. So I'm going to slide this tag out here, just so you can better see the angle lines. And I'll come into my group 2, and we can expand this out, and I can take my screenshots. So this is kind of how I set up all my CAD views. So I usually do one at a time, lay them out. They're very easy when they're grouped to toggle in between and see different things. Some things people don't realize in here too is if I want to go back to any of these things, these are all view states in the dimensional groups here. So if I click on group 1 or anything in here, if I had a compare done with a custom view saved, or I had any custom views pushed in, or I had some other different types of compare tool views and things like that, I could have pictures of all of them. But if I want to get back to this, rather than having to turn everything off and on, I can actually hit apply viewport, and it'll take me right back to that view. So as I'm jumping around between different areas of the part, most of the time I go through and dimension a face or 2 or 3 and realize that I missed some dimensions and I have to go back to group 1 because I want to put that in there, or I want to change it to another view. The other great thing about these is with doing groups is if I put something in and I stick it on the view where I don't like it, I think this is getting too crowded, and I'd like to move something else that's visible outside, like this dimension here. I can come in and grab this and say move to, and I can stick it in group 2. So now I have that radial dim there. You see it disappears because this group is off right now. So, but if I wanted to check out what that looks like, I would generally click my group 2 and just hit apply viewpoint. It'll flip it over and I can put it on. It wasn't on in the screenshot, which is why it's not on now. It turned itself off when I hit apply viewpoint. But now I can come in and move this guy around, hit reassign viewpoint, update my dimension, and then I'm good to go. So now we have our dimensions on here, and these views are all what they're going to be laid out like on the report. So just for fun, let's go and look at a quick report. I'm just to show you how nice they stack in as you're doing this stuff. So we're just going to come to generate report quick. And in the report tool, I can pick all kinds of different templates. There's a template manager if we want to. We can make custom templates for everything, of course. Also, if I have multiple results in the part, I can pick which one I want to display. So maybe I have results with one or more alignments, and I want to create a composite report with, maybe like a best fit on it or a datum alignment on it, and then we have some stuff where we have done a PS or a true 3-2-1 on the same part, and we just want to see how things are stacking up based on datums versus based on like a check fixture that we maybe used to use in the past. So a lot of times I'll do that. I'll do a report. I can pick what's on here. If I pick any of these, they will all start stacking in as I grab them. So I can have result data 1 followed by result data 2. It'll all be in the same document. So, but for now, we just have 2 groups. We have a blank measured data, but that's okay. So we'll just hit generate on this. And this is just our blank stock landscape template. But we'll come in with our CAD views. Again, we could update these to some views that are located on the print if like front top right isn't, but these may describe the part really well for you. Now when we move into group 1 and group 2, you'll see that everything's lined up. And since we have the dimensions grouped, it allows us to just create separate pages for everything. That way we have nice, clean, print style dimensions. And you'll notice I took all these dimensions in 3D rather than creating nice cross sections. So just a great way for us to lay that stuff out. So we went over how to set up and type in your bilateral tolerances and how to put together your dimension groups to make some really sweet looking reports. So that's about it for me today.
Thank you for watching this episode of Inspection Insights.